Hi there and welcome back to the Project Create YouTube channel. My name is Alexandra and I am an art therapist working at Project Create. Project Create is a nonprofit based out of Washington, D.C. that promotes creative youth development through the use of arts activities and art classes. This would have been our last class at Richardson Dwellings for those of you who are watching from there. So I'm sad that things are ending, but I am excited for the future. I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a little box container out of cardboard paper or origami paper. So the materials that you will need for this project are paper, scissors, and either tape or a glue stick. So as far as the paper goes, I'm just using typical construction paper. I would say that thicker paper does work better. You could also use origami paper. That would be perfect because we'll eventually be cutting the paper into a square, but just work with whatever you have on hand. And I would recommend that for this project, I'd say children ages 10 and older. Children could be a little bit younger to complete this project as long as they have an adult there to guide them and to kind of help them. It can be a little bit difficult at times because it involves a lot of paper folding, but I'm going to try to go as slowly as I can. And if you need to, feel free to pause the video at any point so that you can kind of say, wait a second, I didn't quite catch what you just did, what paper fold you just did. So then you can rewind and start again. You'd be wondering, we're going to create a box, we're going to create a container. Why are we doing that? So a container is a box or a bottle that's used to store things. Whatever is kept on the inside is protected from the outside. So containers can be used to store memories, for example. They can remind you of happy things when life is so stressful and strange like it is right now. So I'm going to begin to go into the process of actually starting. The first step is to start with a square piece of paper. But if you have a rectangular piece of paper like I do, what you can do is cut off one of the sides so that you make it a square. I recommend folding it about a third of the way in and then cutting that smaller piece of the fold off. Rulers can also be helpful, but sometimes you can just eyeball it. Something also to keep in mind is that the larger your sheet of paper is, the bigger the box is going to be. So if you do want, for example, a really small box, then you should use a smaller square piece of paper. Or if you want a really big box, then you could use a giant sheet of paper, though I will say this might be a little bit more challenging with a bigger sheet of paper. I haven't tried it myself yet. I'm just using an 8.5 by 11 like printer sheet of paper. And fold this in a little bit and try to get a square. Sometimes it is a little bit challenging to get it right the first time. And there are ways to kind of be able to tell when you have a square and when you don't. But I'm gonna try to go with this one. That looks about right to me. So I'm just gonna cut this piece off now. And there we have it. It's about a square. If you'd like your box to be just plain, just one color, you can leave the paper as is, or you can actually draw a design that you want to be on the box on the paper, which I'm gonna do right now. I'm just gonna use some colored pencils. You can use anything that you have laying around, whether that's, colored pencils, markers, crayons, anything like that. Alright, so this is pretty much what I ended up with. I tried to just do some light colors, some calming colors, and just color it in. Alright, so now we are going to begin. So if you did end up drawing a design on yours, you definitely do want to do this before you fold it. It'll just be a lot more difficult to decorate afterwards. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You're going to want to start with the design side if you have a design down, because you're eventually going to be folding it in like this. All right, so let's begin. So first you're going to fold it in half one way. So like this. And then you're going to unfold it. And then you're going to fold it in half the other way. All right, so then you should have this blank side. And what you're gonna do for the second step is you're gonna fold all 4 of these little corners into this very inner crease right there. So just like this. So folding all 4 of the corners in. And once you have all 4 of the corners in, so it should be blank on the inside, and you have your design on the outside, then what you're going to do is fold, with these folds still like this, you're going to fold in 1/3 of the way. So about like that, and you're going to make sure you're completely pressing on those creases, and then you're going to fold the other 1/3 in as well. So when you unfold it, it'll look like this now. So after your paper is looking like this, what you're gonna do is do the same thing with the 1/3 and the 1/3 fold, but in the other direction. So you're going to fold it this way. Just 1/3 of the way in. You can use a ruler if you want to be really precise with this. I'm not going to right now. All right, so it should look like this after you've folded it. And then when you unfold it, you don't want to unfold it all the way, just so that it's right like that. So once you have your paper looking like this, here is where it does get a little bit tricky. So I'm going to try to go as slowly as I can. Again, feel free to rewind any parts if it seems a little bit too complicated. I'm going to move up my camera a little bit. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 of the edges and you're just going to fold them out. So take that edge and fold it out, and take that edge and fold it out. All right, so it should look like this. And you're gonna leave these 2 edges still folded in. So with your paper folded just like this, you're gonna wanna look at the little vertical crease that's right here and right here. You'll see it on the other side too. It's these, these vertical creases. So not the ones that are like squares, but the one in between. And what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna push in towards those vertical pieces, and it should fold in just like that. So it should look something like this. Oops. Some of my creases are kind of coming undone, so you can, if you see them on the outside, you can kind of push them in. That makes it a little bit easier to see. So again, I'm going to unfold this just to show what I'm doing again. Really just bending in along that inner crease, like that, and bending in again right up here. So then you can kind of see that this is going to be the bottom of the square box. So what you're going to want to do next, once you have this step, is you're going to want to fold this smaller flap all the way down. You're going to want to fold it over the edge, right like that. And this part will kind of be sticking out. You can push him under one of the other flaps. There we go. and that should make it stay a little bit easier. All right. Yeah, so now you can kind of see we have the bottom of our box. And this is about what your paper should look like so far. So once you have your paper looking like this, what we're gonna do is basically the same thing that we did for the last step, which is where you find the vertical crease that goes sort of slanted to the side on yours. And you're going to try to push the vertical creases in one at a time. So we're gonna start with this one. Again, just push that part in along that vertical crease. And then on the other side, see that vertical crease? We're gonna push that in as well. Oh, I think this one wants to go first. Sometimes the order of it does matter. If yours is not perfectly square like mine, if you didn't use a ruler or if you aren't using origami paper, it might not line up perfectly, but you can sort of recrease it if you need to. All right, yeah, I'm noticing that this is kind of uncreasing, so I'm just gonna make that a box again. All right, so then you should basically have the very beginning of your box formation. So it's right like this. So this part that's flopping up is going to be the lid, the box lid. So I'm just going to fold that over the edge and fold it in. Yep, it's stuck in there. All right. And then you see this part, this is kind of going to be the flap part that's going to fold into the inside of your box. So what I'm actually going to do is I am going to tape it. I watched some videos and they didn't tape it, but to me it just seems like it would stay a lot better if you do. So if you notice any of the parts that are kind of falling apart, like this part, you can use any kind of tape, just Scotch tape will do really well. And I'm just going to tape these parts on the inside. I just put a little piece of tape right in there to hold that together. See how it's kind of staying a little bit easier. And then I might put one more on the outside to hold this piece on. All right, and then if you need to, you can recrease some of the creases. It does help to make it a little bit more box-like. All right, and then you have your basic formation of a box. I'm going to refold this a little bit. All right. So there you have it. Mine does not close perfectly, but my first one does close a little bit better because I was a little bit more precise about getting the lines to be even. So if you do want that, you can use a ruler. And if you want to, you can, once you put some things inside the box, you can actually tape it closed if you'd like. That's totally up to you. So some ideas for things that you can put inside of the boxes can include things that you wish you could tell your friends at school who you haven't talked to in a while, maybe some things that you learned this semester that you don't want to forget. Or my personal favorite is you could write down on little sheets of paper things that make you happy, maybe happy memories, things that you like, your favorite items. And put them in the box and close them. And then later when you're upset, you're angry, you're sad, feeling any negative emotion, you can open the box and look back on, read upon those things that do make you happy and kind of use that as a way to, you know, calm down and be able to relax a little bit, because I know things are so weird and stressful during coronavirus and being quarantined at home and not being able to see your friends. And that's got to be stressful. So I really like the idea of using this project as a way to kind of deal with things and just have some fun with art and be able to build something. I think that the little boxes are really cool. You can make them really, really small if you want to. Of course, it might be a little bit harder to fold and you'd have to go a little bit more slowly with the steps, but that's always an option. So that's about it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did end up completing this project, even if you just tried it and ended up giving up, it was a little bit challenging, feel free to email programs@projectcreate.org with any pictures you have if you worked on this. Let us know what you liked about the project, what you found challenging, as well as maybe even just what was your favorite project this semester. So let us know. It was a lot of fun making this video for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe to our Project Create YouTube channel. Thank you all.